Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure you're part of our journey. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and get ready for a story that will leave you thinking. And if you love inspiring tales, a like goes a long way. They don't belong here. 4 words that would change everything inside Bergman's luxury boutique that afternoon. The sales consultant's voice cut through the ambient music, sharp and deliberate, as he eyed the woman's worn coat and her teenage son's anxious expression. The silence that followed was deafening. The boutique sparkled with opulence, crystal chandeliers casting prismatic light across marble floors, mannequins draped in clothes that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Other shoppers pretended not to notice, their eyes suddenly fascinated by cashmere sweaters and designer handbags. The woman clutched her purse tighter, her knuckles white with embarrassment as she whispered something to her son. What she didn't know was that among the racks of $1,000 jackets, partially hidden behind an elegant display, stood Leonardo DiCaprio. And he had heard everything. If this moment made you feel something, imagine what's coming next. Hit that like button and stay with us. Subscribe now. The consultant, Bradley, adjusted his designer tie, a smirk playing at the corners of his lips. For him, Bergman's wasn't just a store, it was a sanctuary for the elite, a line between those who belonged and those who didn't. The woman, Sarah, had spent weeks saving for this day, planning to buy her son Michael a proper shirt for his scholarship interview. She'd calculated every penny, skipped lunches, taken extra shifts. This wasn't impulse shopping, it was investment in her son's future. "Mom, let's just go," Michael whispered, his face flushed with embarrassment. At 16, he was acutely aware of status, of the way people looked at them. He'd seen his mother's calendar, the circled date, the budget notes. He knew what this shopping trip had cost her, even before they'd bought anything. "Perhaps I wasn't clear," Bradley continued, his voice louder now, theatrical. "This isn't a department store. Our shirts start at $350. He gestured toward the door with a manicured hand. "There's a mall about 6 blocks east that might be more appropriate for your budget." A few customers chuckled softly, complicit in the public shaming. Others found sudden interest in their phones, uncomfortable witnesses to the scene unfolding. Sarah stood straighter, dignity fighting against humiliation. "I'm aware of your prices. We came to buy a shirt, not to be insulted." Her voice trembled slightly but held firm. Michael stared at the floor, wishing he could disappear, feeling the weight of every stare, every judgment. The scholarship interview suddenly seemed distant, unimportant compared to this moment of crushing shame. Leonardo DiCaprio observed the scene quietly, his baseball cap pulled low, sunglasses shielding his eyes. He'd been in the store for nearly an hour, browsing casually, enjoying the normalcy of shopping without being recognized. But now, something shifted in him. It wasn't just the cruelty of Bradley's words. It was the calculated public humiliation, the way he wielded status as a weapon against a mother and her son. The actor had seen this scene play out countless times, in restaurants, hotels, airports, the casual cruelty of those who believed money determined human worth. He'd grown up with little himself, remembered the sting of exclusion, the burning shame of being deemed not enough. Now, watching Sarah's quiet dignity and Michael's embarrassment, Leo felt a decision forming. The baseball cap came off. The sunglasses followed. It was time for a different kind of performance. Things are about to take a turn. Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe, like our video, and keep watching. "Excuse me," came a voice from behind the designer rack. Heads turned. The atmosphere in the boutique instantly shifted. electric, charged with recognition. Leonardo DiCaprio stepped into the open floor space, his presence commanding yet understated. Bradley's expression transformed from smug superiority to shocked recognition in an instant. Other customers whispered, some reaching for their phones. The boutique's ambient music seemed suddenly too quiet. "I couldn't help overhearing," Leo continued, his voice carrying the natural authority of someone used to being listened to. "And I'm curious, what exactly does someone who belongs here look like?" He approached slowly, hands in the pockets of his jeans that probably cost more than Sarah's entire outfit, yet he wore them with casual disregard. His focus remained entirely on Bradley, whose complexion had paled considerably. Sarah and Michael stood frozen, unsure if this intervention was actually happening. "Mr. DiCaprio, it's an honor," Bradley stammered, professional smile snapping back into place, though it didn't reach his eyes. "I was just explaining our boutique's pricing policy to these customers." The word hung in the air, a retreat from his earlier dismissal but still laden with distinction. Around them, the store had become eerily quiet, everyone watching the unexpected confrontation between Hollywood royalty and the suddenly nervous salesman. "I heard exactly what you were explaining," Leo replied, his tone pleasant but unyielding. "You were explaining that some people belong here and others don't?" He glanced at Sarah and Michael, offering a quick, genuine smile before returning his attention to Bradley. "The thing is, I've been coming to Bergman's for years, and I've never heard that policy before. Is that new?" The question was deliberate, pointed. Several phones were recording now, the modern-day witnesses to a moment that was rapidly becoming something larger than a simple store interaction. Bradley's face flushed red, sweat beading at his temples. "Of course not, sir. Everyone is welcome at Bergman's. I was simply trying to be helpful about our price points." His eyes darted to the store manager, who had emerged from the back room, alerted by the unusual silence and the murmuring crowd. The manager's expression shifted from curiosity to alarm, as she recognized both DiCaprio and the brewing public relations disaster. "Helpful," Leo echoed, raising an eyebrow. He turned toward Michael, who stood straighter now, watching the actor with a mixture of awe and disbelief. "Was he being helpful to you?" The teenager hesitated, caught between honest indignation and social pressure. His mother squeezed his hand, giving him silent permission. "No, sir," Michael finally answered, his voice stronger than he expected. "He told us we didn't belong here." The words hung in the air, simple and damning. A woman nearby audibly gasped. Someone whispered, "That's going on Twitter." The store manager began moving toward them with increasing urgency. "This story is only getting deeper. What would you do in this situation? Comment below, and let's talk." Leonardo nodded thoughtfully, then turned back to Bradley. "You know what I've learned making movies all these years?" he asked, his voice conversational but carrying throughout the now silent store. "I've played billionaires and paupers, con men and kings. And the costume, the clothes, the watch, the shoes, they don't make the character. They never have." He gestured toward Sarah's worn coat. "You saw a woman in a coat that's seen better days and decided her story. But you missed everything important." The manager arrived, her professional smile strained. "Mr. DiCaprio, what an unexpected pleasure. Is there perhaps something I can help with?" Her eyes flicked nervously between the actor, the salesman, and the mother and son at the center of the drama. Bradley looked like he wanted the floor to open and swallow him whole. Several customers were openly filming now, the confrontation too compelling to miss, too perfect in its unfolding drama. "Actually, yes," Leo replied, smiling warmly. This young man needs a shirt for an important interview. I'd like to help him find the right one." He turned to Michael. "What was the interview for again?" The teenager swallowed hard, still processing that Leonardo DiCaprio was speaking directly to him. "A science scholarship, sir, at Westridge Academy." Leo's eyebrows raised, genuinely impressed. "Westridge? That's serious business. Their environmental program is world-class." The manager instantly pivoted, professional instincts overriding everything else. "We'd be delighted to assist. Bradley, why don't you take your break now?" It wasn't a question. Bradley nodded stiffly and retreated toward the back room, his career prospects visibly diminishing with each step. The manager turned to another consultant. "Sophia, please help this young man find exactly what he needs." But Leo raised a hand. "Actually, I'd like to help Michael myself, if that's all right." He looked at Sarah. "With your permission, of course." Sarah nodded, still stunned by the turn of events. "Thank you," she managed, emotion making her voice rough. The rest of the next hour unfolded like a dream. Leo walked Michael through the shirts, explaining fabrics and fits with surprising knowledge. "Environmental science needs more brilliant minds," he told the teenager as they browsed. "The scholarship, that's about potential, not privilege. Don't let anyone tell you differently." When they finally selected a shirt, a classic white Oxford that made Michael stand taller just trying it on, Sarah reached for her carefully saved money. Leo gently shook his head. "Please, let this be my investment in the future." Before she could protest, he continued, his voice low so only she and Michael could hear. "The truth is, I remember what it's like. My mom worked so hard to give me opportunities. What you're doing for your son, that's real value. That's what belonging actually means." The store had returned to normal operations, but eyes still followed the unlikely trio. When they finally walked toward the door, a wrapped package in Michael's hands, the other customers parted like a sea. The few who had witnessed the entire exchange looked at Sarah differently now. Not with pity, but with something like respect. "It's not over yet. The best part is coming. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it." By evening, the video had gone viral. Leonardo DiCaprio stands up to snobby salesman was trending across platforms. Clips showed the actor's calm confrontation, his genuine interest in Michael's scholarship, the moment he insisted on the gift. What the videos couldn't capture was the quiet conversation at the end, when Leo had given Michael his email address. "Let me know how the interview goes," he'd said. "I mean it." Sarah watched her son that night, studying in his room, the new shirt hanging proudly on his closet door. She thought about what wealth really meant. She didn't have designer clothes or luxury vacations, but she had raised a son who studied for science scholarships, who had thanked Leonardo DiCaprio not just for the shirt, but for seeing us as people. That, she realized, was true richness. Bergman's boutique issued a public apology the next day, announcing Bradley's departure and a new training program focused on inclusivity. Their statement mentioned reevaluating what luxury really means in today's world. The comment section flooded with stories, other encounters with retail discrimination, moments when worth was judged by appearance rather than character. The hashtag number "What Belonging Means" began trending, with people sharing their own experiences of exclusion and inclusion. Leonardo's representatives declined to comment, which only fueled the story's spread. Celebrities and influencers weighed in, many sharing similar experiences from before they were famous. A well-known fashion designer posted, "Luxury isn't about keeping people out. It's about craftsmanship, heritage, and making people feel extraordinary." Everyone deserves that feeling. Within days, several high-end brands launched campaigns specifically targeting the everyday luxury market. 3 weeks later, Michael wore his shirt to the scholarship interview. He stood straighter, spoke more confidently, not because of the brand label, but because he carried with him the lesson of that day. When the interviewers asked about his interest in environmental science, he spoke about systems of value, how things and people are deemed important or unimportant, and the responsibilities that come with that judgment. He got the scholarship. The first person he emailed was Leonardo DiCaprio, attaching a photo of himself in the shirt grinning with his acceptance letter. Leo's reply came the same day. "The shirt looks good, but your mind and heart are what got you that scholarship. Never forget, you belong wherever your passion and work take you." The story continued circulating, evolving from viral moment to lasting parable. In comment sections and dinner conversations, it became shorthand for a particular kind of quiet heroism. Not about celebrity or wealth, but about seeing the dignity in every person. About belonging. Wow, what a story. If this moved you, imagine what else we have for you. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and let us know what you think.